I'm focused on his spirit cause it keeps me from his fire. The Holy Ghost was with me, so my fear I leave behind. My sins were all diminished when he took that breath and died. And if you think I'ma give up on my God, the devil is a lie.
Hello. Welcome to Black Tea News. I'm your host, Christina Barr, and today we're going to be talking about some comments from Megyn Kelly about the attack on Iran, Tucker Carlson, some crazy stuff, so crazy that Qatar had to come out and say, whoa, that's some false stuff that you're saying. But Donald Trump was asked about some of their rhetoric, and he's like, I am MAGA. And I don't listen to these people, and Megyn always disliked me. So he's brushing off these people. So I thought it was interesting that he's mentioned it. Matt Walsh said some things that were silly. I don't think Matt Walsh is in the same camp as like Tucker Carlson or something like that. I just think maybe he was unaware of some different things that he was saying, or was unaware that what he said was silly about he says all these conservatives are gaslighting him about Iran and wanting to go to war with Iran and et cetera, and nope, not at all. You can find articles from Thomas Sowell from like 2006 and Bill Buckley, like lots of folks talking about Iran, especially if you remember way back to the hostage situation and so on. So we'll be going over those sorts of things today, and perhaps some more. We'll see how much time we have. I know I'm starting a little late. I do apologize. I did tell you guys that there was something going on personal that was not good, and I just asked for your guys' prayer, and I said I would be more specific. So I did get the news that my aunt passed away, and this is my mom's sister. So I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to cry. So just I believe in the power of prayer, and I appreciate you guys, but I just wanted to let you guys know because I don't know what exactly the schedule is going to be for like the funeral and things like that. So if my schedule is jumbled a bit and there's some kind of disruption because of that, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. But right now I don't know that information. I do know that on Friday we are still intending to have our gala. So for the Pregnancy Crisis Center. So I'm not going to be live on Friday because there's just a lot of things that we're going to have to do to prepare for that day and for the event and so on. So if you guys do want to support that event, you guys can DM me on Facebook. And if you're interested in maybe sponsoring a table, if you want to go, if you're in the area in Michigan, it's going to be a lovely time. So on Friday, I won't be streaming. And I assume the funeral will probably be, I don't know how fast they'll do it. It could be Saturday, it could be early next week. I'm not sure, but they expected her to pass for the past couple of days. So I don't know what the plans that they might have in advance. So that's what's going on. Again, I don't want to dive too deep into it, but yeah. Anyway, before I jump into everything, I do always want to encourage you guys to go to blackteens.com, check out different content, website, articles, videos, etc. If you like what I do here, please consider, supporting the show on the website, because it does cost to stream and run the site, all that stuff. So you guys can support. Appreciate you guys. You guys can also check out different merch that's available at the website, different t-shirts and mugs and so on. So you guys can check out that stuff. And you guys can also check out different books and stuff that I'm working on or writing or have published, like of course Guys Blatantly Against Abortion, Slay Your Fear, how to Overcome a Spirit of Fear. And I was thinking about, I saw a TikTok last night about a pastor who, I know I said I didn't want to talk about this, but a pastor preached a sermon 2 weeks before his daughter died about how some times bad things happen in life, and still to have the joy of the Lord and other stuff like that. And that was yesterday when we got the news. And so I wrote in the comments, because I was reminded of when I had taught in church about suffering, and how when we do suffer, we're supposed to uplift each other and come together and bear each other's burdens. And then, my mom passed away like 3 days later. So I thought it was interesting that came back up in my algorithm, but I believe that God will send comfort in times like these. And so again, another reason why I'm like, thank you for your prayers, because again, I do believe in the power of prayer, especially corporate prayer. Anyway, Tucker Carlson has been saying some wild things. Shocker. No shocker. And Megyn Kelly, also not a shock. And Donald Trump had some choice words about it. I'm going to probably talk about his words first, and then talk about some of the things that were being said. So he was asked, he said, "I think MAGA is Trump. MAGA's not the other two," Trump said, referring to Kelly and Carlson. "MAGA wants to see our country thrive and be safe, and MAGA loves what I'm doing, every aspect of it. This is a detour that we have to take in order to keep our country safe and to keep other countries safe. Frankly, let me share this page with you. In this tweet. Okay, MAGA is Trump. MAGA is not the other two, Trump said in reference to Carlson and Kelly. Trump said Carlson can say whatever he wants. It has no impact on me. On Kelly, Trump said Megyn was opposed to me for years when I ran the first time, and nothing stopped me. And so, some people are against, and they always come back. She came all the way back. But now I guess she maybe doesn't like the idea of the war, but I do, because I have to keep nuclear weapons out of the hands of Iranians." So he's not going to let talking heads, and apparently Tucker had, when he went to the White House to visit Trump a few times, tried to warn him or talk about this stuff, at least stuff that was probably leaked by Tucker and written in different places. They tried to convince Trump not to do the different strikes and so on. Trump is going to do what Trump feels is best. Trump is going to do what Trump feels is best. There's a lot of rhetoric from people on the right that took some comments from Marco Rubio out of context the other day, which I will get to those. But there's a lot of people who are pushing this idea that this is Israel's war. It's not, that they got tricked into it, which is one of the things that I want to talk about when it comes to Tucker Carlson, one of his examples that is just not true. And Trump laid out a list of grievances that the U.S. had with Iran, starting with the hostage situation and going up from there, IEDs, and other attacks on our military, Marines killed, and so on. And he said he doesn't want them to get nuclear weapons. They are hurting right now. It was a good opportune moment to get at them. And they also want to stop their missile capabilities. They don't want them to be able to fire all the way to the U.S. These are insane people. They are insanely attacking their neighbors that don't have anything to do with Israel and the U.S. attacking them. But they're sending missiles everywhere, not just at bases, but in civilian areas, residential areas, sending it in at airports and so on. So these are insane people. The way that they are acting is further proof that they should not become more powerful. So if Trump saw an opportune moment and also knew that Israel was going to attack, because Marco Rubio said, we knew Israel was going to attack. They didn't want them to attack first and be out of sync. So then the U.S. would kind of just be open to retaliation. He said it was about doing it at the right time together. So people are like, oh, Israel strong-armed the U.S. into attacking. No, that's not. He specifically said, no, we didn't do this for Israel. He said we were going to do it anyway. And people on the right, and it was Mike Cernovich, Matt Walsh, and other folks were repeating it, saying, "Oh my gosh, they're just admitting it. Like it sounds like they did it for Israel." Took his comments wildly out of context. That the White House had to clarify. Marco Rubio is continuing to clarify, but I had to watch it several times to even be like, why are they flipping out? It just seems like such a reach. But Tucker's the worst of it. Tucker's the worst of it. So, sorry about that. Let's start off with Tucker the other day making the claim that Iran didn't actually try to kill President Trump, and he blamed Israel like it was a conspiracy from Israel, and that's where we got the intel from.
Way to end that. So, Kennedy assassination, 9/11. But let's start with the purported assassination attempts on Donald Trump. Now, why are those significant? Because yesterday, the president of the United States said, I did this. And by this, I mean, killed the head of state of Iran, the Ayatollah Khamenei. He tried to kill me twice, but I got him first.
Yeah, so he did basically say that. I got him first, which is, I just took it as Trump aura farming or whatever, but
almost a verbatim quote from the president who thinks that. He's been told that. Get it. What do we know about that? Where did that intelligence come from that proved that the government of Iran, run by the Ayatollah, this religious leader, tried to assassinate the president of the United States twice? Do we know where that came from? Oh, it came from Israel. That's where that intel came from. Well, let's see it. Why not? At this point, he's dead. Why can't we see that? Oh, sources and methods? Tough.
Ooh, sources and methods. The sources and the methods were the FBI. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I don't know if Tucker's read the complaint that the DOJ put out, but it didn't say anything about Israel. There's two particular cases. There's one where they attacked. There was a couple different people that they were monitoring, and one particular person is a Iranian activist who she got the heads up that they were trying to kill him. They actually were in the midst of trying to kill her. So the men involved with that got sentenced to 15 years. The plot to kill Trump wasn't something that they had start to actually really enact. So maybe that's why they just, at the end got them for the 15 years for her. But it's funny that he has this, Israel's the one who did it, because before he said that he acted like he had never heard of it before, actually. So now he's so certain that it was Israeli intelligence when it seems like the FBI is the one who got the intelligence for that. And even if it was Israeli intelligence, that doesn't mean it's wrong. It's like kudos for our, one of our allies picking up that kind of information. That doesn't mean that we ourselves don't verify information that we get from other intelligence agencies. But it was the FBI. And people actually did try to at least kill victim one, who was celebrating, so happy that Khamenei was killed. So, let's flash back a bit with Tucker when he was talking to Ted Cruz, which, by the way, here's an ABC News article. 3 charged in Iran-linked murder plots, with 1 targeting Donald Trump as revenge killing for Qasem Soleimani, according to the DOJ. By the way, this is not Trump's DOJ. This is still Obama's DOJ. I don't think Merrick Garland would be all like, let's give Trump some street cred that Iran wants to kill him. I don't think that the Biden administration would just want to do that, especially Merrick Garland. But whatever. You guys have probably seen this clip before, this unhinged sort of interaction that Tucker had with Ted Cruz, it was a very aggressive interview. And this is probably the most unhinged part of it. Oh, I don't know.
But I just want to pull that.
I don't know if this is the most unhinged part of it. There's a part where he's questioning Ted Cruz pretty hard about civilian population, like the exact number. But this is probably the most unhinged part of it.
But I just want to pull that thread because it's so important. I voted for Donald Trump. I campaigned for Donald Trump. Yeah. He's our president. And we're on the cusp of a war. So if there's evidence that Iran paid hitmen to kill Donald Trump and is currently doing that, where's that? Like, what are you even talking? I've never heard that before.
Okay.
Where's the evidence? Who are these people? Why haven't they been arrested? Why are we not at war with Iran?
That's a great question to ask.
How do you know that that's true?
We know that it's true because we have been told that by the military and our intelligence community for the last 2 years.
We meaning who?
Congress has, and the public. I mean, we had multiple testimonies. I can send you testimony.
Do we know the names of the people or where this happened or what they tried to do to kill Trump?
We do not. We have not apprehended an Iranian hitman trying to kill him. We know that Iran is trying to do so.
In the United States?
Yes. And by the way, like Iran...
This just seems like a huge headline, and you're acting like everyone knows this. I didn't know that.
Iran put out a whole video about murdering Trump.
Right, but I've never heard evidence that there are hitmen in the United States. I mean, trying to kill Trump right now. We should have a nationwide dragnet on this, and we should attack Iran immediately if that's true. Don't you think?
No.
If they're trying to assassinate our president?
They have been for 2 years.
Then why are we at war with them?
Well, we are trying to.
Why don't we just nuke Tehran if they're trying to murder our president? There's nothing that you could do that would be worse for the United States than murdering Trump. And I just don't understand why you're not calling for the use of nuclear weapons against the Ayatollah right now. I'm serious. If you really believe they're trying to murder
the use of nuclear weapons, see,
whatever
part
it
of the
takes.
problem of.
So what do you mean? You don't seem to take the allegations seriously. I do. If you believe they're trying to murder Trump, we need to stop what we're doing and punish them.
So. Yeah, so he was so aggressive. Now, of course, he's pushing back so hard because he was trying to delegitimize the idea that Iran was a threat and that Iran actually did try to put a hit out on Donald Trump. Now, if you go read the DOJ complaints and the arrest information about these people, and you come away thinking like, that doesn't seem like that's enough. That's what someone who was an asset claimed, and I don't know if they totally have enough evidence, and there's some talk of payments and other things like that, but I don't know if I will totally believe that the Iranian government really wanted to kill Donald Trump. If that's your takeaway with it, that's fine, but it's another thing to try to be like, oh, it was just Israel who gave us that intel, therefore it's all fake or whatever is his implication. But I just think I thought it was so funny. Because in the past, he pretended like he had never heard of it, which is crazy to me. I'm like a Fox News journalist, former Fox News journalist, who's the co-founder of the Daily Caller. And his industry is all this stuff. He had Ted Cruz on here to grill him. He had not heard of that before. He's like, who are these people? How come they're not arrested? Okay, well, they did arrest people. Like... It was, I didn't believe that he had never heard of it. Like, that's why Ted Cruz was really baffled by it. And he kept, pressing, because if you don't know the exact thing, the exact detail, Tucker's going to try to make it seem like you're lying. Now, this is very interesting because this is not how Tucker normally conducts his interviews. And you can say, well, it's different because he was talking to a senator versus when he was talking to Nick Fuentes or other people. Tucker doesn't ask interesting follow-up questions that would just be common sense follow-up questions. He doesn't. He will be very aggressive with people who used to be friendly with them, have good relationships with them, but they're on opposite sides now. Like Huckabee, Tucker was pretty aggressive. Huckabee did a good job though, going back and forth with Tucker, but like, how do you know that's true? How do you know that's true? He asked the same thing of Huckabee when Huckabee called him out for having a man on who claimed that the IDF murdered a child. And they're like, we know that's not true. He's like, oh, how do you know? How do you know that's true? He's like, because we found the child. Well, how do you know the same child? Like, just still pressing those kind of questions. And he's like, well, we know that guy's a liar because we found the child. He's like, I personally helped that child and their mother escape Gaza. And he's like, well, the guy, he seemed really sincere when he told me about it. And he's like, how was the guy sincere when he claimed that he witnessed the IDF murder this particular child? How is that not a lie? But Tucker was doing everything to try to, keep the integrity of this man who came on his program and lied, and try to do everything to tear down Ted Cruz and do everything to try to tear down Huckabee, especially with these guys being, Christian evangelicals who Tucker thinks is, the core evil, I guess, among the whole Israel-Gaza conflict. So someone said, G Tucker, I would think chance of death to America since 1979 would be a hint. Yeah, you would think. you would think. So Tucker also made a claim that Mossad agents were caught trying to cause some kind of explosion in Qatar, which at the time, A.G. Hamilton reported that from what he had heard from his resources and in monitoring the news over there, that there wasn't even any kind of explosion. But then after Tucker said something, there was one. So he's like, should the FBI look into whether Tucker has some advanced knowledge of some stuff, but still not Mossad agents who did anything. So Al Jazeera in Qatar reported that Tucker lied and in Qatar came out against Tucker. Qatar's FM spokesperson adds that there is no information on Mossad cells operating in the country. This comes after U.S. broadcaster Tucker Carlson claimed that Qatar and Saudi Arabia have arrested individuals linked with Mossad. So not true there on Tucker's part. So he might want to sit back and wait for the real talking points from Qatar. Oh, by the way, this is the Iranian activist who was on the hit list of the people who were trying to kill Trump. Now, she was an actual target who the FBI got involved and was like, hey, these people actually came to your house trying to kill you. And she was going to go speak at a university, and the university was told they ended up canceling the event, and she didn't go to the university. So Mashi Anijat, I'm not saying that name great, but here we go.
Every morning I wake up reading that my people being killed by Ali Khamenei, but this is the first morning in my life that I get the good news, and I want to run. I want to run. I want to run. I want to run. I want to just run. I want to just run and shout and shout and shout out of joy, out of joy, out of joy, out of joy.
Ali Khamenei is dead. Freedom! Freedom! Dictator Ali Khamenei is dead. Thank you. Dictator of my country is gone. Oh my God, I love America. Thank you. Ali Khamenei is dead. Ali Khamenei is dead. I love Iran. I love America. I want to tell everyone. Yes. Oh my God, thank you, America. I need to tell everyone.
Amazing. Hell yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so congrats to her outliving the people who tried to murder you. Congrats to her. So yeah, it was a real plot. And I have not seen evidence. I don't that Israel had that information. That's where we got it from. And again, just because we get intel from a foreign nation doesn't mean that we don't verify it ourselves and check it out ourselves to see if it's credible or real or whatever. But I double checked. I looked through the documents. I looked through, I searched through articles and tried to see if there's any congressional thing that was public. And I couldn't find any link or whatever with Israel. So I don't know where Tucker got that, other than Iran lied and claimed that Israel was behind it. So maybe that's just what Tucker's going off of. Someone could have told him that. But yeah, again, just because Israel, even if it were true, it doesn't mean that the intel is somehow just bad and Israel is manipulating the US to get into some kind of altercation. That's just not how it works. So someone said, I really appreciate your take on these issues. Thank you for taking the time to speak. And I got to make this bigger. Speak out and share your thoughts. I'm single and I don't have any at home I can discuss the current events with. Your program feels like sitting down with a friend for a substantive discussion with a cup of hot tea. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, there's definitely other, I don't know if someone will call me a neocon for mentioning Ben Shapiro show. Like he goes into a lot of different details with these things. So, I mean, there's other people who are going to give some more detailed nitty gritty stuff of the Middle East situation. But I don't know. I just kind of calls it like I see it, I guess. I know that Tucker is lying, and I know, and I just it just seems like if you have just kind of general experience living in this world as a person on the right, you would know that some of the stuff that Matt Walsh was saying the other day wasn't true. Now, I just want to reiterate, I don't think that Matt Walsh is in the same sphere as like Tucker Carlson. I know a lot of people are trying to pair him with those folks, or trying to pair him with like Nick Fuentes people and saying, oh, he's seeing the light, or oh, he's going to be fired, or he's going to leave the Daily Wire and start his own thing because he disagrees with Ben Shapiro, blah, blah, blah. These guys have always just disagreed on different stuff. That doesn't mean that they're going to break up or whatever. You know, maybe they will one day. I don't know. But he said some off things. We'll get to that. I did do a TikTok about it already. But let me go ahead and get to some stuff that Megyn Kelly said the other day that really upset some folks.
Look, there are massive divisions over what we've done here, and people are going to change their minds over the coming days and weeks, one way or the other. But my own feeling is no one should have to die for a foreign country. I don't think those 4 service members died for the United States. I think they died for Iran or for Israel. I think I understand how this helps Iran perfectly well. I get it. I mean, I hope. Long term, we'll see. But they seem rather jubilant. 80% of the country does not support the Ayatollah. He was a terrible, terrible man. No one's crying that he's dead. No normal person. But our government's job is not to look out for Iran or for Israel. It's to look out for us. And this feels very much to me like it is clearly Israel's war. Mark Levin wanted it. It's his war. Ben Shapiro, Lindsey Graham, Miriam Adelson. That's obvious. They're the ones who've been pushing us into this.
Okie dokie. So Trump already made his comments about Megyn. We already went through his comments about Megyn and Tucker. And I don't know why. I don't know all her motivations for particular takes that she's had as of late, whether it's with Israel or Candace Owens. Like, she justified her not coming out against Candace at AmFest because she was saying stuff about Israel, and she's like, I favored her asking the questions, even though Candace was attacking so many people, accusing them of being a part of the conspiracy, and was also attacking Erica Kirk at the time. Even when she called Ben Shapiro a liar, she was still attacking Erica Kirk at the time. It was very obvious to people paying attention. And of course, she's now worse as far as her attacks on Erica Kirk, and Megyn Kelly is still pretty silent about that as well. Is she still in favor of her asking those questions? But she was on Piers Morgan's show, and Piers Morgan was asking her about different things and about Candace Owens. And she just went on and about how these people are attacking because they're upset about Israel and her takes on Israel. And people are upset about that, but it's clearly not just Israel that she's attacking. And ever since AmFest, it got like more obvious it wasn't just about Israel. But even when Ben Shapiro confronted Megyn Kelly, he said that she's like accusing Erica Kirk and Seth Dillon and other people of killing Charlie. And everybody just wants to focus on the Erica part, but her lying about any of these people is evil. Like, I understand we think it's like hyper particularly evil, like coming after the widow who's mourning the death of her husband, and Candace has her beef for whatever reason. It's probably just clicks and views, to be honest. I don't know if I believe the scorn lover. She wishes she was Miss Charlie Kirk. People, I don't know. People say that she's there's just kind of more animosity behind the scenes between the both of them that I didn't know, I guess, at first. So I don't know if I buy into the she was so jealous because she didn't get to marry Charlie Kirk theory. But I don't know. I think maybe a lot of it is probably just engagement and farming. But it's all been evil. It's all been evil. And it's not just Israel. It's not, and even if it were the Israel content, I've talked so much about that particular issue because I don't like people lying about it, and it just really bothers me. And it really, there is a pattern of people who are willing to lie about the war with Israel and Gaza and all that stuff, and so on and so forth. Like Tucker Carlson was willing to lie and say, the Egyptian plane story, yeah, it's totally true. Like, what do you mean it's totally true? You didn't look at the data and verify it, Mr. Journalist. What do you mean it's totally legit? Why are you? I think he said that on, maybe it was Theo Von's podcast, maybe. So telling all these people that there's something legit going on when it was one of the dumbest things that Candace Owens came up with. What's the purpose of that? Why are some of these people trying to lie about this stuff? Even how Candace and Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson reacted to Ben Shapiro's AmFest speech. They couldn't at least attack the merits of his argument, and they all pretended like it was like Israel this, Israel that, when he didn't say anything about that in his speech. He called Megyn a moral coward because she is. When Ben called out Megyn Kelly, he's like, I don't understand why you wouldn't call out Candace Owens, because you would do the same. You would call someone out from the other side if they were doing the same thing, which is true because she called out Jimmy Kimmel. So anyway, people were upset about Megyn Kelly saying this thing about these veterans. They're not dying for America. They're dying for Israel, and they're Israel's war. This is a war that Ben Shapiro wants, and Mark Levin and all those people. But this is an America's war. The commander-in-chief is the one who made this decision. You cannot like it. That's fine. You cannot like it. That's fine. Trump has done a lot of stuff that I haven't been too fond of. You cannot like it. That's fine. But that doesn't mean that it wasn't an American decision, and that when he sent American troops, that it wasn't for America's interests. Of course, you can see how it helps the people of Iran. Obviously, it helps Israel, and they're going to do it. But they don't just chant death to Israel. They chant death to America. And they have been attacking America and Americans, rather, for years. She's old enough, she's older than I am, to know better. To pretend like it's just something that Israel wants. I understand there's a lot of people in Trump's base who don't want it, but the base is very diverse. The base is very diverse, which brings me to some comments that Matt made. So Matt Walsh the other day, let me just read it from my phone. Let me just read the text from my phone. I already did a video about it, so maybe you already saw me go through all this. But I'm going to go ahead and talk about it again because I know everybody doesn't see my tickety talks. I like saying tickety talks. It makes me think of what my mom would have said. So Matt Walsh said, I can't take the gaslighting, guys. I really can't. Conservatives are now running around saying Iran has been waging war on us for 47 years. Okay, then why didn't any of you call for an attack on Iran at any point until now? Why didn't you make a case for Trump ending the war, not starting it, until precisely the moment when Trump did it? You and I both know that you are latching onto a talking point you never used until 45 seconds ago. You and I both know that almost every conservative influencer in the business was opposed to war with Iran until just now. And now you're trying to use justifications that stretch back decades. It doesn't make any sense. If you changed your mind, fine, say so. Explain why. You're allowed to change your mind. I've changed my mind about things, but don't try to rewrite history. Be honest about it. There's too much at stake to play these games. So a lot of people retweeted Matt, commented under Matt saying, you can feel how you feel, but this is such a naive or ignorant take. People have called Matt out for saying this is so millennial, so in your own bubble, in your own world. That's what people were saying. I too am a millennial, but and this is also a weird thing to say, knowing that you work at the Daily Wire, knowing that you work with Ben Shapiro, knowing that you know Mark Levin, these people, other people that Megyn called out, you know. So there's definitely been some voices on the right who have been ready for something to go down with Iran. But I've told this story a few times now, but when my dad was dating my mom, they went on a date, and this was during like the hostage crisis situation where Iran kidnapped Americans and had them hostage for like 444 days, I believe. And they were talking about going to war with Iran. And it was a really huge story at the time. As I told the story, other people were like, yeah, I remember that. That was a huge, crazy story. And there were like nightly updates and all kinds of different stuff going on. And people really thought we were going to go to war with Iran. And the more I see boomers talk about it, they're like, they don't understand how scarring it was, how upsetting it was to see how weak-kneed Jimmy Carter was. And this is why Reagan won, because people didn't like being that humiliated, them having our hostages for all that time and not doing anything. And this is why so many Democrats at the time did decide to go ahead and vote Republican, because Democrats were too weak. And there's just so much rhetoric when you bring up the hostage situation of people remembering that time. But my dad noticed that my mom stopped to watch the news, and then he's like, this is really important. I'm glad she stopped to watch the news. This is the kind of woman that I could date and be with. So beyond that, when I was a kid in church, probably like 30 years ago, I recall my dad talking about Iran and the religious leadership, as Tucker referred to them, and their ideology, in explaining different things in the hadiths and how they had a apocalyptic sort of worldview. And I've just always heard as a child about how evil Iran was. And I don't know what it was like for Matt growing up, and I know everybody doesn't have my same experience, but I recall those conversations about Iran being demonic, basically. So it's not a new thing of conservatives deciding like Iran has been a problem for a long time. Of course, there's been other times that Iran has been responsible for the loss of American lives. In 2006, people were posting an article from Thomas Sowell, pretty conservative guy. Thomas Sowell talking about how Iran couldn't have a nuclear weapon and needed to do something to stop them. Bill Buckley wrote around the same time about, hey, you need to do something to stop Iran. So that's at least 20 years ago. So people have been talking about it a long time. There are different veterans responding to Matt saying, no, they paid and sent like IEDs that blew up my friends. We need to take out Iran. Even when there was the war with Iraq, Israel and a lot of people were like, Iran is the real problem. Like, what are you doing? Like, those are the folks that you need to focus on, not in Iraq. George W. Bush called North Korea, Iraq, and Iran the axis of evil. So this is not a new thing. Trump has consistently talked about how we needed to go to war. Well, we needed to stop them from getting nuclear weapons. That's been a consistent position of his. No, he doesn't want forever war, but he's very much talked about blowing stuff up. If you can go back and watch old videos of him talking about the hostage situation and how something should have been done back then. It's just been a consistent position. So a lot of people really pressed on Matt Walsh to the point where he responded again. And by the way, I like Matt Walsh. And I like Matt Walsh when I agree with Matt Walsh. When you don't agree with Matt Walsh, I can understand why people don't like him because he's very prickly and very insistent, will double down on stuff. And he can be annoying when you disagree with him, for sure. And I've been in some disagreements with Matt on even like there was something that was non-political, and I was going back and forth with him on another account, and it was like when I was on a vacation with my family, my phone was just blowing up. But he had such a weird take. Like he was like, I want to hear from people who disagree with me, and then it was like, you're all brainwashed. It was like, whoa. So Matt, you know, I love him when he's fighting on your side. But anyway, his response to all the people who were responding to him was like, the gaslighters are responding with more gaslighting. Yes, I'm well aware that neocons have been calling for an Iran invasion forever. I obviously wasn't talking about them. I'm referring to the MAGA conservatives, America Firsters, Trump's base. The people I talk to every single day attacking Iran was not a policy priority for them, and many were expressly against it, trying to rewrite that history now is just grotesque, insulting our intelligence. Make your case for this operation, but just be honest. Come on. Now, there are people, and I already said this in my TikTok and stuff, but there are people on the right who would change up at the drop of a hat, if Trump's team says so, that they're going to just be full on rah. Trump says this, I'm going to support them. Excuse me. Even if they have to totally switch up, they'll defend something, a position that they think is Trump's, and then Trump will come out and say something later, and they'll have to go defend the new thing that was just kind of denounced and pretend like they weren't just looked like they weren't made a fool of. So I don't think piggybacking Trump that to that degree in the end will do anything other than humiliate you. I think people need to be honest about what they believe and just let the chips fall where they may. But there are people who will just switch up to be on Trump's side. That's true. That's true. I also think he can name names and not try to say conservatives, because that's what he first said, conservatives. He didn't say neocons. He didn't, he made it very broad, this critique. But yeah, there's people who will lie to you and will just say things to parrot the Trump talking points. Sure. People will do that because, one, they don't want to upset Trump voters. When I had started to criticize Trump pretty heavily during one point in time during the primary, I was upset about some stuff he was doing. And a friend of mine asked, was like, what are you going to do about your audience? I'm just like, I can't curb how I feel for my audience. I'm like, they can respect my opinion and stay, or they can go if they feel that they got to part ways with me, but I can't be held hostage like that. I can't live like that. I know a lot of people can, and a lot of people still take them checks from Facebook or whatever with engagement. I can't do that. That's not me. So I just always try to speak my mind. There's some people who don't want to lose access to the Trump sphere. They want to still go to Mar-a-Lago. They want to still go to the White House. They want to still go to parties and so on. Well, I'm not one for really going to a lot of parties and hanging out too much. But I've still been able to do some cool things. I've still, but I know people who know people. So, I've still gone to the White House a few times. I still got to go to the inauguration. I don't know how deep someone's looking into my content like that anyway, but I'm not a hater or anything. Just, if I disagree, I just let it be known that I disagree. So he's right that there's some people who switch up, but you can name names and have beef with them, not just trying to say conservatives are trying to gaslight you. But the real issue that I took with his follow-up statement about that, I'm not referring to the neocons, I'm referring to the America First, MAGA conservatives, Trump's base. And I already mentioned my dad earlier. People like my dad, okay? My dad is such a big Trumper. Huge. So sometimes he'll say, I've been praying for the president. I've been praying for the president. And I'm just like, I hope you pray for me like that, Dad. And I'm only kind of joking. Only kind of. He is such a big Trumper. Such a big Trumper. And he didn't get on the train in 2024. He didn't get on the train in 2020. He was on the train before he got on the escalator. Okay? He is such a big Trumper. The Trump base did not materialize from thin air in 2016. I understand that Trump isn't an ideologue, and he spoke to a lot of people who didn't feel like they were represented in politics, or there are people maybe kind of on the left, but they didn't like the Democrats so much, or they thought they were kind of crazy or so on. And maybe there's some libertarian type people who are just like, I'm cool with the no more wars and stuff like that. But some of these people don't care about social issues. Some of these people don't care about that they're populist, and some of them don't actually care about they're not so fiscally conservative. I hear people talk about all the time about like, we need to stop. We spend all this money overseas when we could be spending it at home. Like, or we could not spend it. We could not take people's money. We spend too much money. We spend so much more on social welfare here in the US. It's way bigger than our military budget. So people who act like we need to take more money that we're using overseas and invest it back into America. We need to stop spending so much. That's what we actually need to do. So there's a lot of people in the Trump base who aren't conservative at all. My dad is very conservative. Always has been. Not always, because at one point he was a Democrat, but he was still a conservative Democrat at the time. Just kind of didn't realize that he was a Republican. But which is a story of a lot of Black people actually who are very kind of socially conservative and haven't taken that next leap or whatever. My eldest sister, who actually works for the RNC right now, when she was in high school, she had a teacher, and this was in an urban environment, urban like city school and stuff, gave the class a test to see like where they really ranked on the political scale, like where the Republican, Democrat, conservative, whatever. And so she took the test, realized that she was conservative. She came home, she's like, Dad, I'm a conservative. He's like, what? She's like, Dad, you're a conservative Republican too. And so he really didn't like, the Democrats so much and a lot of stuff that they were doing anyway. So it wasn't that hard of a pill to swallow. But I don't really recall him not being a Republican. He was listening to Rush. He would he'd read newspapers from all over the world so he could be informed, reading Drudge Report and stuff before Drudge, I guess, went crazy. He was, he'd go into barbershops to argue against Black barbers and their customers, to defend George W. Bush and debunk like 9/11 conspiracies and so on. He was so into politics. And sometimes he could be rough debating it, man. But he was a hardcore Republican for sure, hardcore conservative, and he's someone again who taught taught us about how evil Iran was, recalls the hostage situation, really prefers peace through strength. And you can't just have peace through strength and not be serious about the strength part. But he's totally Trump's base. Again, he didn't poof into existence in 2016. He's been there for a long time. If you're going to say that people like my dad aren't Trump's base, I don't know who the heck Trump's base is. Besides, I don't know, Gen Z, who just came on the scene, who are still kind of finding their way in life, you know? But he's totally Trump's base. He's got the signed Trump hats. He's been to several rallies, been so excited to go to the White House, so excited when he got to tell people that my sister worked on the Trump campaign, so excited, you know, about her working in the RNC. When I worked at the Michigan Republican Party, he would call me like every day, ask what's going on. I'm like, you know, I can't tell you everything that goes on at work, right? You know, he was so interested in all that stuff, you know? So he's Trump's base. So does this upset people like Matt Walsh, who I don't know if he actually voted for Trump in 2016, and neither did Ben Shapiro, but I saw some pro McMillan posts from the past. But my dad was there. And he's going to continue to be a steady Republican voter for as long as he continues living on this planet, and he's not going to be mad and crash out and decide that he can't vote for Trump because Trump doesn't make the right decision on Maha, or Trump doesn't make you know, if he gets too strict with abortion access or whatever, he's not going to be like, oh, I thought he was moderate and leave. No, he's going to continue being a actual solid conservative. And I understand people want to appeal a lot to I don't know, a lot of these Gen Z or millennial folks and stuff too, but there's still a lot of boomers out there who aren't dead yet. So I just found Matt's rant to be so interesting and fascinating and false. Well, let's talk about Rubio a bit, because a lot of people were taking him out of context for something that he said. I already explained it, but I don't know, it's so wild. What people are flipping out about. I'm trying to find a good clip of it. But they're trying to say that he admitted that that we're in war because of Israel.
Well, we did. We notified Congress. I mean,
I'm sorry, that's the Gang of Eight thing. That's the Gang of Eight thing. When he said we sorry. They asked him about, like, did you notify Congress? He said, we notified the Gang of Eight. Not only did we notify, he's like, I've done more Gang of Eight briefings than I ever got when Biden was president. So he clapped back on him. Good for him. Okay, here we go.
Was forced to strike because of an impending Israeli action?
No, well, let me two things I would say. Number one is, no matter what, ultimately this operation needed to happen. That's the question of why now. But this operation needed to happen because Iran in about a year or a year and a half would cross the line of immunity, meaning they would have so many short-range missiles, so many drones, that no one could do anything about it because they could hold the whole world hostage. Look at the damage they're doing now. And this is a weakened Iran. Imagine a year from now. So that had to happen. Obviously, we were aware of Israeli intentions and understood what that would mean for us, and we had to be prepared to act as a result of it. But this had to happen no matter what.
Secretary, President Trump said overnight that his top
choices to now run Iran were killed in the strikes. Does the United States have a firm plan for how they intend to handle this power vacuum in Iran to ensure that an Iran hardliner does not take power?
So two things can be true. Number one is our mission and our focus.
Yeah, they keep killing they keep killing people who could possibly take over. As a matter of fact, Israelis like blew up some folks as they were having an election for a new leader. So when people keep asking like who's gonna take over, I said I don't know. They keep killing the folks. Until they get the message, I guess. So people were mad at Rubio because he had mentioned that Israel was going to attack. And so they're like, oh, so does that mean that Israel, because they were going to attack and put American troops were going to be at risk because they were going to retaliate, so we had to go ahead and go in? And he was asked a question by a reporter, like, are you saying that's why you had to strike because Israel? He said, no, we were going to do it anyway. It was just a matter of timing. So it was a decision that the U.S. was already going to make. And from my understanding, we sped up our timeline because the CIA got some good intel about where Khamenei was going to be in a meeting, and they decided to launch their attack in broad daylight. Like, they usually do that stuff at night, so they really weren't expecting it. So to me, it seems like the U.S. was the one who like decided here and now we're going to jump on this and we're going to do this. So the White House pushed back on a lot of, I guess, thoughts that the right was having. No, Marco Rubio didn't claim that Israel dragged Trump into the war with Iran. So that's our press secretary. Rapid Response 47 also reiterated what he said about, was the U.S. forced to strike because of an impending Israeli action? He said no matter what, ultimately the operation needed to happen. So that's what he had said in that clip that I showed you guys. So he was also asked about it today.
Yesterday, you told us that Israel was going to strike Iran and that's why we needed to get involved. Today, the president said that Iran was going to get.
Yeah, your statement is false. So that's not what I was asked very specifically. Were you there yesterday?
Yes, I asked.
Okay. No, were you the one that? Because somebody asked me a question yesterday. Did we go in because of Israel? And I said, you were asking me that. You that follow up, and I said no. I told you this had to happen anyway. The president made a decision, and the decision he made was that Iran was not going to be allowed to hide behind its ballistic missile program, that Iran was not going to be allowed to hide behind its ability to conduct these attacks. That decision had been made. The president systematically made a decision to systematically destroy this terroristic capability that they had, and we carried that out. I was very clear in that answer. This was a question of timing, of why this had to happen as a joint operation, not the question of the intent. Once the president made a decision that negotiations were not going to work, that they were playing us on the negotiations, and that this was a threat that was untenable, the decision was made to strike them. That's what I said yesterday, and you guys need to play it. If you're going to play these statements, you need to play the whole statement, not clip it to reach a narrative that you want to do, all right?
Yep. Isn't it funny how I don't know, people grow up and they do he's so much better now with the media than he was in the past. In the 2016, Trump had mocked, maybe it was 2015, but Trump had mocked Rubio. It was 2016 cycle, about his response to the State of the Union. And I saw someone posted a clip of it recently, and I didn't not see it back then, and I didn't realize how bad it was. And so Rubio's just way better now with press. Even during that 2016 cycle, there was one point in time, I think it was Chris Christie had said something about him being like a robot or something, programmed to say certain things, and he just, the best way to say is short-circuited on the debate stage because he said something and then he ended up repeating the same thing. And it just made him look like he was a robot who's been programmed certain answers and is not an organic thinker or sincere or whatever. But he just crashed and burned so bad. So I think it was Christie who got him. It might have been. So he was really a guy who was really propped up in 2016. And people were having discussions like, oh, Rubio is this rising star, and who's going to get all the money from the donors because they got Jeb Bush running and Marco Rubio. So who's going to pour how much money into it? And he seemed really promising at first during that cycle. I had a friend of mine was working on his campaign, and I said, you know, I think you kind of hit yourself to a, you know, pretty good star, is what I said at the time. And it didn't work out that well for him. And so I think him, of course, he was being considered for vice president. I think he fits the role of Secretary of State much better. And I think he's got a real shot as a contender in 2028. I do. I know a lot of people think it's JD's to have. There was a video I saw the other day of this immigrant to the United States who was watching a video and he was reacting to it because there was an Asian Democrat lady saying that she didn't think that the GOP would pick Marco Rubio because they're too racist. And so the person responded to it and said, I haven't met anyone who doesn't like Marco Rubio. He said, I've gone to a lot of events. There's plenty of people who love JD Vance, and there's a lot of people who don't know about him, don't like him for whatever reason. He's like, I haven't met anyone who doesn't like Marco Rubio. Now, I think there are less people who liked him before, but really feel that he's stepped into this role, that he's a very good Secretary of State, that the memes are on point. Like every time there's a new role to fill, you know, they're like, oh, Marco Rubio is going to be the head of Iran now, or Marco Rubio is going to be head of Venezuela now. And the jokes just keep, you know, coming. There is, I think though, I definitely believe that we could elect and pick a Hispanic person to be the president of the United States. I think he's just a really competent politician who's a lot more polished than he used to be. So maybe his time is now. I have noticed though that usually a taller person wins though. And I don't know if that's like just thinking about like people seeing the two people and one just seems kind of more intimidating, and I'm like, he is quite short. I don't know, but but maybe our short king can do it. I don't know. Because I saw him next to someone the other day. I'm like, oh gosh, he is quite short. But no, but I think he's really stepped into his role as Secretary of State, and he does a pretty good job, and especially dealing with the media as well. So yeah, that people were running, and it was like Matt Walsh, Mike Cernovich, and other folks who are pushing this narrative that we just got into the war because Israel was going to jump in and we just had to do it. And it's just not the case. It's not the case. We were going to do it anyway. And if they were going to attack Israel and we wanted to do it anyway, is it so crazy that we would coordinate? Is it so crazy? I can understand if you don't like it, but the grand conspiracies as if Trump is just being controlled is so bizarre to me. It's so bizarre to me. Someone laughed at the short king. So many I think that's the actual thing of like the tallest person always winning. Yeah. Tallest candidate wins majority of U.S. presidential elections. Obama was taller than McCain. Trump is very tall. Abraham Lincoln was like 6'5" or something. It's usually the taller person who wins. um Researchers at Texas Tech University suggested that height affects voters' preference and political leaders, possibly for the instinctive reasons going back to caveman days. The findings were published in a journal, Social Science Quarterly, by political science professor Greg Murray, a graduate student of David Schmidt's. A near universal fear of snakes and preference for unhealthy fatty foods likely evolved from the time when snakes were a common threat and caloric intake was uncertain. Murray said, "We believe similar traits exist in politics." The authors point to what's called the big man tribal leadership of many ancient societies, as well as the impact of physical strength on status in the animal kingdom. And they note that the taller candidate has won 58% of U.S. presidential elections between 1789 and 2008. So, when was this written? 2011. So we've had some. Oh, you know what? I guess Trump did not win in 2020. I guess if you believe he didn't win, but of course he did beat Hillary, and of course he did beat Kamala. So, and he would have beat Joe if he'd stayed on that ticket too. So 58% isn't so overwhelming. So maybe so maybe there's a chance there for the short king. Maybe there's a chance. I think I saw him the other day next to Trump and I was like, "Oh my gosh." Now Trump is really tall. And I know some people try to downplay how tall he is because they don't like him or whatever. My sister's tall and she was in heels and still looking up to him. So he is actually tall. He's actually tall. Charlie Kirk was really tall too. There's a lot of people on the right who are quite tall. I mentioned Jeff Mead was so tall the other day. Made me feel short. And I'm not a short woman, but yeah, some people are just gigantic. So someone said if Rubio was elected president, his Latino background wouldn't matter to the left. It would only carry relevance if he was a Dem. Yeah. I mean, they just say that people like him who, well, actually, Rubio was much softer on immigration. So if we'll have to see how exactly he wants to operate, if he's actually the one driving policy on that, because that was a concern back in 2016. Donald Trump, the reason why he obliterated everybody basically besides his humor and name recognition, and money, because he could self-fund and all kinds of different stuff. But his name ID just gave him such incredible an advantage that was insane. But he came up with an issue that was very important to Americans that a lot of people on the right were very squishy about. And it was immigration. That was his key thing that he was talking about. It was that. He was also pitching No Forever War so he could hammer in like the past, like I'm the new thing. We're not doing the establishment thing. And Jeb over here, who's supposed to be the guy, like he destroyed dynasty elections basically after he took out Jeb. But he was really hard on the immigration issue in a way that no one else was really. Maybe not no one else was, but he was very vocal about it, very unapologetic about it. willing to take some slings and arrows for it. People said that he claimed that all Mexicans were rapists, which isn't true. If you go back and watch that press conference where Trump is like, they're sending in rapists and other people, and he's like, and some I assume are good people, but he's like, and they're not all even just coming from Mexico. He's just telling you plainly what was happening. And if you go back and watch it now, it's like, man, this guy was really speaking truth so plainly, and they called him a racist for it. it was just common observation, like common sense. But he's stuck on that issue. And Rubio was sketchy about it at the time. So Rubio's been part of this particular administration where they've been very tough on immigration. He's kind of seen where the wind was blowing. We have to see if he decided to run for president, where he's going to land on that issue. Is it still going to be like, it probably won't be maybe as tough as the rhetoric with Trump that Trump has, which Trump sometimes it's a lot of rhetoric, but he dials back in certain areas. But will there be some kind of introduction to a pathway to citizenship? That's what I would be very curious about. Is he going to get squishy on that? That would be my only kind of hesitancy with Marco Rubio. I've got a lot of hesitancy when it comes to JD though. But we'd have to see what they would individually pitch, given the position for them to be in the driver's seat. He's a very effective, very competent Secretary of State, but he serves at the pleasure of the president. Yeah, but Trump, man, he was just a killer in those primaries. He just has so much charisma. And he's very funny. And he picked topics that spoke to people. He was willing to bob and weave and kind of evolve with the different desires of the voters. Listened, wanted to make deals with a lot of different coalitions as he built them together. He just, obviously did a great job to the point where he won that election and is still the president today. Anyway, I didn't mean it to become like a will Rubio win 2028 discussion, but interesting one to have. I guess we'll have it eventually. I still like Ron DeSantis, but I don't know how much he's getting the view of the people to make that pitch, and obviously didn't go great for him, but the last time, but maybe it'll be different with Trump not actually being in the race, and I'm sure that Trump will weigh in. I don't think his endorsement after he's left office though will hold as much weight, and it certainly really depends. I guess the state of his presidency by the time he ends. Maybe he won't even like these people anymore, because him and Mike Pence definitely had a falling out by the end of it. So we'll see. We'll see how it's really early to consider where all this is going to land. Last thing I want to say before I let you guys go, I do find it interesting because there are some people making remarks about, oh, well, Donald Trump did this and he is destroying his base, and so many people are unhappy with him, and it's going to ruin the midterms because he decided to do this. And there was a tweet by Luke, who used to be on Tim Pool's show, which Luke is not a conservative or a typical Trump voter or whatever, or typical person on the right. He's not on the right, but Luke said, "You're telling me Trump had the option of allowing the Iranians to strike Israel, which would have justifiably allowed him to respond, and he could have had a major PR victory, allied support, but chose not to. If this is true, which I don't think it is, this would be the worst PR maneuver ever." So I'll go ahead and play Trump's comments that garnered this response.
We were having negotiations with these lunatics. And it was my opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack. If we didn't do it, they were going to attack first. I felt strongly about that. And we have great negotiators, great people that do this very successfully and have done it all their lives very successful. And based on the way the negotiation was going, I think they were going to attack first. And I didn't want that to happen. We were having.
Now, that's what he says. Again, considering I don't know why people think that it's just so impossible that that would be the case, because Iran has had their terror proxies for a long time, has led to American deaths. They do shout death to America. They are religious nuts. So there's a lot going on. I can believe that they would want to attack the United States of America if they got their missiles to the capability where they could fire them successfully and hit the US, or they got their nukes together and maybe wanted to go ahead and nuke the US, or at least the US would have to act, would have to entertain them in ways that they wouldn't normally entertain a country like them. But if they have nukes, you gotta handle folks different, you know. But Luke saying, like, you're telling me we could have just let them attack first and then we could have responded. Why would we want them to harm Americans first? Why would we want them to kill Americans first for PR and clout? That's really dumb. Like, if you could stop Pearl Harbor, would you still let it happen just so you could? And there was like, I read things that they kind of had a heads up that Japan was doing something shady, but like, just if it was up to you, would you be like, nah, I better let it happen so we can have good PR when we go in for the attack? That seems crazy to me. I'm okay with the preemptive strike. I'm okay with that. I just am. But people like having this backlash to Trump because of this. It's cool if you don't like it, but what's really fascinating to me is people feeling like maybe they can't support him in the midterms, or the midterms are over, etc. Blah blah blah. Which people chronically online are not the same as people out in the real world. People who, you know, sometimes you have to actually like watch polling on like mainstream media to even see where a lot of people are actually at, and not like an X poll or something on the internet. Because a lot of people they're just stuck in an echo chamber. They're stuck in their algorithms. There's a lot of bots. There's people from foreign countries who are weighing in, and you don't even know that they're a foreigner or something. There are people from the Middle East, people from Canada, just all over the place, or interjecting in American politics who aren't actually from here. And you don't realize that they're not, but they have, maybe they just find it fascinating to pretend to be Americans or to comment on American politics. And some people, you know, they are trying to kind of actually disrupt things and are bad actors or whatever. So the life that you're seeing online a lot is not how things actually are, especially on X. Like, I think there's other social media places where you can have a better perspective of what's going on in the world, but I don't think it's X. So how people actually feel about all this stuff, you're not going to find that out from a Matt Walsh Twitter poll or something like that. You're not. So I think he'll be fine and successful, and people buy the motivation. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. The things that are still going to be in people's minds is cost of living, and inflation obviously went down, but you know, do they still think eggs are too high? And did tariffs actually hurt people's businesses? And the immigration stuff, how that stuff that was on TV that people were protesting about, that's going to be in people's minds. I don't think this Iran thing is going to be the thing. that's going to convince so many people not to vote. But what I find interesting to people who are so upset about this is that in 2024, when Donald Trump was saying stuff or making moves that were against pro-life, ideology and convictions, people like Lila Rose, for example, kind of floated the idea of withholding her vote. And people got so mad. They're like, "You're trying to ruin the election. You're trying to ruin Trump. And how dare you? And you're a paid actor, like trying to do something nefarious." People started digging into her finances and live action's finances. I'm like, why do you get paid this much? This is a bad organization, and you guys aren't really sincere. But like attacking her motivation, her character, all kinds of different things. Now, it should not be weird for people who are pro-life, who had pro-life organizations, to be upset when the president, who's supposed to be the Republican, conservative, whatever, who and people claim is the most pro-life president ever, starts basically pushing like a pro-choice ideology. It's not as, in some cases, not as bad as Democrats, but pretty bad. I was very upset about it at the time. And so people were really attacking people like Lila Rose, being upset, saying that she's trying to destroy the election. And this is a psyop and all kinds of crazy stuff. So my question now is like, how come you can't hunker down and still support Donald Trump, even though he's doing some things that you don't particularly like? Why can't you go out there and still knock doors and convince people to vote and tell them to basically get over it? If that's what was your attitude in 2024, when people were concerned about baby murder, I think you can get over the fact that he killed a brutal regime. I think you can get over that. So it's just amazing to me. And I do see some of the same familiar faces complaining and thinking, oh, it's over for the midterms or whatever. You guys told pro-life people to shut up and get on board. So I just wonder why you ain't taking that same attitude with yourself. Suck it up, Buttercup. If that's your attitude, if that was your attitude then, and you thought it was going to be so terrible for Kamala to be president and Democrats get in charge, et cetera, it's still going to be terrible if Democrats take the House and the Senate. It looks like that could be what's going to happen one way or another. But you can do your darndest to stop it, or because Trump's legislative agenda is basically going to be done. Now, I don't mind if you got issues and you want to vote the way that you want to vote. But if you're one of those people who's basically like, shut up and get on board in 2024, you can shut up and get on board when it comes to midterm. If that's how you felt then that's how you can feel right now. But I remember people coming hard for Lila Rose. So take your own advice. Anyway. No, you can so go ahead and do that, Josh, I guess. Anyway. Someone said, I've never been a big fan of Trump in the first place. He is just another politician. Man, some people really love him though. Like I mentioned my dad. Oh gosh. You know what? And I've had complex feelings. Like, there's things that he's done that I've really loved, things, and I've really had to defend him. I hate when people tell the most absurd lies about him. I hate when people are willing to lie for him, like absurd lies for him. It used to be my dream to like go on The Apprentice, though. I was a huge fan, a huge fan of The Apprentice. And actually, like the first like political event that I went to for like Oakland County Republican Party, it was a Lincoln Day dinner. And Donald Trump was the speaker, and this was in 2012. And so I remember I got this nice dress. I got some Swarovski earrings and stuff, and I was just so excited to go because Donald Trump was a speaker, and it was expensive. And actually, my uncle ended up helping pay for us to go because my family was really going through at the time. And when I say really going through, I mean we didn't like have a place to stay. I'm like, man, I really want to go. So we had such a nice night that night. And it was the whole family that went. There's this picture of my family that's really cool from that night. My mom's not in it because something happened with her legs. Like she just didn't want to walk to the stage in her shoes or whatever. So there's a picture with me and all my siblings and my dad, but my mom was there that night. And it was at the Novi show place center. It's a big like convention center where they have like Motor City Comic Con and stuff. So that's where they had it at. And after that, we got on their newsletter, and we were, I think we were on their newsletter before, and that's how we found out about it. But we ended up going to a debate watch party when it was like Obama versus Romney. And so they had people hold up signs that said Obama isn't working. And so I held up the sign, and I was in the picture with me and two of my sisters, Gina, who now works at the RNC, and my sister Katrina. And that the person who was the head over like Romney's team for the youth or something posted that online, and it went kind of viral, and people said pretty racist things. Or they're saying that we were traitors and so on, and they were saying that we were paid to take that photo and all kinds of different stuff because we're Black women, and they just couldn't fathom that we didn't like Obama. And the person who actually took that photo ended up being my office mate years later when I went to go work at the Michigan Republican Party. He was the digital director and I was the creative director, and we shared an office together. And we worked very well together. And as a matter of fact, it took a while before we realized that we met each other kind of that night. So small world. But yeah, Donald Trump was kind of like part of the gateway of me getting like really involved. And eventually I worked to make sure that he was elected in 2016. So I was very passionate about it. A lot of people got to do a lot of cool things, including like going to events where they got to meet different Trump people, like Trump family members and so on. But I was like hunkered down in my office, working diligently on different videos and stuff to push out because I really, really, really wanted him to win. And I thought he did a great job, especially first term. So do I like everything that he does or pitches? No, but he's pretty okay at this president thing. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me today. Please go to blacktunes.com. If you want to learn more, see more, etc. If you like what I do here, please consider leaving a donation on the website because it does cost a stream, run my site, all that good stuff. Guys can support. I very much appreciate it and appreciate you guys. You guys can check out different merch that's available at the store, like different mugs and t-shirts and so on. You guys can also check out different books and things that I've written. I have 19 altogether, and most are fiction. I have 2 nonfiction books, but I have middle grade. I have picture books. I got chapter books. I got new adult. I guess most of them are new adult. I thought young adult was like a 14 to like 20 something, and people are like, no, it's 12 to 18. And I was like, really? I'm like, is that a new thing? But I guess my stuff is mostly new adult. But because middle grade is like 12 to 14, if I'm not mistaken. So if 12 middle grade is that, doesn't it seem reasonable that young adult would be older than that section? Anyway, I'm aware of this discussion because someone who did write YA and clean YA came out with another book that is still YA. But in the book, I guess there's a threesome and with a dead body or something. So people are like raising alarm bells about it. I'm like, well, that's definitely not kid friendly. It's definitely not kid friendly. That is the wrong genre. Anyway, God bless you guys, and I will see you on I should see you guys tomorrow. And I will if there's any kind of disruption for again for my family due to the passing of my aunt, I'll try to post it on a notification on Facebook and a notification on YouTube so you guys just know. But on Friday I won't be live, but tomorrow and Thursday I still plan to. I don't think the funeral will probably be till next week, but we'll see. Anyway, God bless you guys, and I'll see you next time.